Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome back to another episode of SimAirport. So, I was kind of thinking about SimAirport. It's kind of I'm not quite enjoying playing it as much anymore, and I think it's probably got a lot to do with the fact that we've kind of done everything, we've researched everything, we've expanded as much as we can expand, basically filled up the entire map. We've got a pretty efficient airport running, and we still have bugs. No, we don't. No, this was bugged in the last episode. It's not bugged anymore. We still have kind of baggage car bugs happening around, but everything is kind of working. The cafe is working. The queues are, yeah, pretty bad, but I don't know. More and more, it doesn't seem to. More staff don't necessarily seem to mean they're using these queues more efficiently. I can obviously put a queue in here if I want to, and I might actually try that, see if that works. So let me do that a little bit. So let me dismantle some of these things. Yeah. And oh, there's someone in that chair. Let's dismantle the chair from under him. And let's dismantle this one. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do a, well, let's get this dismantled first and see how that goes. So once that's done, we'll come back and maybe put a single kind of consolidated queue in there. Our planes are efficient. Apart from the concerns we have with the taxiway, it's kind of it works. It works. We've got a pretty full schedule. We could probably get it a little bit fuller. Yeah, we've got a few more slots available. We're making a decent amount of money per day, like 1.2 million if you believe that you're getting all the passengers. I should probably remove this zone a little bit just to get the vehicles to come in a little bit deeper there. The game is quite laggy, especially at higher speed. So speed 2 is about the max that I can do. So let's have a look. Has this been taken care of? Yeah, they've taken that out. What I'll do is, right, I might actually dismantle a bit more. And can't click on anything because the big plane is coming by. Okay, so let's see about that. Pending delete. That's okay. Pending delete. Pending delete. Yeah, maybe that'll be enough. Okay, just come and take that out. All in all, the queues work. Could it be more efficient? Yeah, certainly. The bathrooms work. The baggage collection works. The pickups, the drop-offs. Oh, I didn't even extend the second line through here, but I think it's fine. Don't necessarily need it. The big thing is at the drop-offs and pickups where there's lots happening. Our security is unrealistically big, so that's quite an issue. Well, not an issue, but could have been better. Where are my workers? Okay, here they come. There we go. Okay, well, the cafe is getting pretty busy. So what I'm going to do to try and improve this setup a little bit is no staff. There's like 6 people standing right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start a queue. No, that's not what I want. Is it that way? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do is I'm going to start a queue over here. Wrap it this way and that way. Yeah. And I'll probably wrap it a little bit more. Actually, let me get rid of a few more tables. and then we'll try and sort that. So let's dismantle there. We'll dismantle this one. We'll dismantle that one. Oh my goodness, look at this big plane trying to make its maneuvers. We'll dismantle that one. Okay, so let's quickly assign these. There we go. There we go. It's so difficult to click what I want over here. And over there. And over there. Okay, so now we will have a queue. And as soon as these, we get rid of this, pending delete, where's the workers? Come on, guys. Yeah, get rid of it. Don't hang around, just get, it's a bit frustrating. Is the queue functioning? Yeah, it is kind of functioning. Hopefully that'll sort the cafe out a little bit. Oops. Okay, so let's quickly extend this queue a little bit more. And then that way, and that'll be our cafe queue. Okay, so what I was thinking is, since we've pretty much done everything is working to kind of the extent we can have it work. We're operating a pretty large and sizable airport, and fairly efficiently, to be honest. Not a lot of issues. Most planes, apart from kind of the inefficiencies on the outside with the pathing and the taxiways, we're loading the planes with the number of people they need. They are filling up. We're not leaving too many people behind generally. Yeah, so all looks pretty healthy. So what I'm gonna end the series over here. I don't think there's much more for us to do. Yes, can we make it a little bit more efficient? Yes, we can, but it's not as exciting as it used to be. There's not enough new stuff. We're not learning enough. It's just a kind of more of the same. And until there's a few more updates, or maybe the game is released with a lot more content and options and so on, I don't think we'll be playing any more of this right now. So what I'll do in this episode is just kind of quickly run through a tour of the airport, what we've done, what we've learned, and so on. Okay, so let's start off with the drop off the road, the access road. So as you can see, access is a problem in the sense that this gets clogged up pretty badly. So we spent a few episodes trying to understand how the road works, and so if you don't know, rotating you can actually rotate the road tiles to dedicate or kind of prescribe the direction of travel, and that's what you need to do. So when you build, so this second lane here is effectively something that you research, the second access lane, something that you research, but you also research road building, and then you can start building these kind of arrangements. And I would recommend building drop-off arrangements like so, to get the vehicles outside of the main traveled way, because this will clog up the deliveries, the pickups, the pickup of garbage, etc. And the one thing that I would also recommend is, if you make a nice long one like this, what you should probably do is, you shouldn't create the drop off to be the full size of it. You should kind of make the drop off only at the front, so that the guys coming in don't just stop. I think this one was pathed before I deleted that. So that hopefully these guys fill it up all the way to the front, so you've got a bit of a queue going on while this is happening. And we'll come back in a bit. I see that one is actually doing that. That one is but still, kind of look at maybe that's the point to where I was deleting it when that one spawned. But anyway, we'll come back to that in a while. Same thing, I've done the same thing here with deliveries, a bit of queuing room for the deliveries. Not quite sure why this guy is hanging around. Garbage is a bit of a problem, as you can see. But so this is the first one that you're going to experience if you start this game, is if you've got the garbage truck stopping on the main line. That's a problem because it takes ages to load up all of these bags. Okay, and then I've done the same thing with the pickup area on the other side. It looks a little bit funky, but it all works functionally speaking. Want to see any new vehicles coming in here? No, that's just guys just coming to pick up some people. Whoa, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that was how it worked. Interesting. Okay, so the bus comes in, it goes hopefully all the way to the front. What is that? See, this is, so the drop-off is not meaning anything at the moment. Anyway, fine. More stuff that we're not quite sure of and whether it works properly or not. Okay, so let's then move into our check-in area. So when building or designing a check-in area, in this game at least, I would allow for a lot of room for expansion. So you don't necessarily have to build this entire section, but what I would do is I would start building an arrangement like, say, this. So if you say do this a third or a quarter of this arrangement over here, I would then allow for a lot of expansion in one direction so that you can keep adding check-in counters, you can keep adding security. Some of the things, I mean, in real life, the big airports have multiple check-in counters like this. So this is quite realistic. And it is probably divided into areas like such as well, probably by airline or something like this. In this game, I'm guessing I haven't seen that you can set it to an airline or to a gate or anything like that. So all of them just serve all of them. So there's no point in having multiple queues like this, yet you can't assign a queue that actually goes, you can't assign a queue to a check-in counter that's like more than 4 check-in counter spaces away. And so I've had to end up with, see, this is not working still. I ended up with multiple queues, which is obviously not optimum arrangement. It's not as efficient as it should be. In an area like this, I would probably want to have one massive queue and maybe a smaller queue for like the first class guys. The other thing to keep in mind is these ticketing kiosks. They are an extreme help, especially early in the game when you can't afford the staff and you don't have the room to expand and add multiple ticketing counters, or you don't have money to expand. These ticketing kiosks help a lot. A lot of people go through the ticketing kiosks. I must say almost probably half of them go through ticketing kiosks quite quickly. So that's quite good. Then moving on from there, so ideally, and if the devs are looking at this, ideally we would want to be able to either assign these to airlines so that you can appropriately have the right number of check-in desks or ticketing desks for the airlines that you have scheduled. So if you've got 4 planes coming in from the same airline at the same time, you probably will have 10 of these just serving that. Okay, and then the next thing is, if that is not the case, or even if that is the case, you have the option of not doing it that way, then please let us have a very long a line so that everybody can be served in the same manner of efficiency. Okay, so the next thing is then we move on to security. So security is plagued by the same problem in terms of queuing. That you can only assign ID check desks to a queue that is like 4 or 5 blocks away, and so I've got this wildly inefficient queue that's going on over here, but it kind of works. So the thing that I've got a real problem with is the fact that we need so many security, because if we get a lot of these guys coming through, these guys are just so inefficient. In a real airport, you would maybe see 1 or 2 ID check with like 4 or 5 or 6 of these things, and maybe not all of them are even open, right? So what you would do is you would just quickly check everybody's ID, and they would then go into go through these queues. And yes, there is queuing, but it's much more efficient than what we're seeing over here. It takes, I don't know why it takes so long to get through this, but because they're effectively just walking through this. I don't know why it takes so long. But this is not realistic. This is not balanced. This is realistic for a sizable airport. This is not realistic for an airport of this size, or any size for that matter. I mean, going to some of the biggest airports in the world, you wouldn't see security like this. This looks like security at at a massive event where there's where you have to get 60 or 70,000 people into a facility in like an hour. That's how this looks to me. This doesn't look like an airport that's efficiently set up. And so there's certainly some problems with the way security is working, and that can be much more efficient. That this must certainly not be as big. What I would like, I would like secure areas and security to be a bit more rigid, in the sense that we should actually have to build a wall or some kind of divider between these areas, and doors shouldn't be able to, you shouldn't be able to get in and out and this kind of thing. You should just be able to go one direction, and so on. And then the thing that goes along with this is passport control and that kind of thing for international, but I'm not going to hammer on that at the moment. We'll keep this as domestic for the time being, as that just adds a lot of complexity, but it will also be fun. So I'm not sure if it's an expansion or what have you. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the next thing is like amenities, bathrooms, restrooms, benches, cafes, probably vending machines or the like, are pretty much problematic in the sense of how people path to them. So while I would have loved to have some benches in my check-in area, maybe a bathroom, and again the same thing on the baggage claim area, the problem that I was experiencing was that people would be dropped off here, go straight to the baggage claim to go to the bathroom, and then have to walk back to go through ticketing. So they're not actually, and even if I had a bathroom over here or over here, they don't necessarily go to the closest one. They go to the first available one or something like that. I'm not sure what the exact mechanics are, but that results in a lot of cross flow of people walking this way and that way. It's very inefficient and obviously time consuming to get people to their planes in time. So amenities, the way amenities work is not quite great. Okay, the next thing, the gates and the queuing system. I think it's okay. Building the queues is extremely tedious. I'm sure there must be an easier way. I'm not sure if it's just this functionality of it, but building it is extremely inefficient. Having to get all the way to the end. Oh, I made a mistake over here, so I have to delete the entire thing to restart it from there. I can't just delete a section and rebuild a section, so that's not good. Really need to work on that. The way the gate agents function, I think, is fine. I don't have too many complaints about it. I think that's okay, and the way the gate stands work. So my biggest concern here is the fact that we basically use the same level. If you've got a sky bridge arrangement like this, you will have, at any airport I've seen, you will have it. Maybe not at any airport. There are a few where it doesn't do that. But mostly it does. It actually funnels people to different levels. So there's kind of a split level in there, and then you can go either up to the second floor or down to the first floor or something like that. So our most airports are laid out is one floor is for arrivals and one floor is for departures, and so you don't have people mixing. In the absence of that, what I think we need to be able to do is at least have some sort of exit channel. So I'm trying to do an exit channel here. It's kind of I'm just trying to do it, but that doesn't help. People can still walk through here, and as you see, they do walk through here to get to these gates. They don't walk all the way around, because what I'm trying to do, and what most airports try and do, is they try and limit the number of cross flows of people, so it's more efficient to get to your gates and so on and the like. So something in that effect. It's not a at this point a game breaker or anything like that. It's just a little bit strange that we can't actually kind of dedicate where people are going. I for instance would like to say anybody getting off of the plane over here should not be able to walk around over here. They should go straight in a certain direction. We should give them a path of where they want to go, or signage. I don't know. That's how it works in a real airport. Like, while there are areas that are enclosed with doors that are closed at various times and things like that, so this door would be closed, for instance, so you can't go through there. At the very least, there should be signs that kind of guide you, and that could be the kind of way that it's interpreted in the game. Okay, so the next thing, we'll get to this in a bit. Maybe let's get to this now. So the next thing is the pathing. So as you can see, this airport has grounded to a complete halt because pathing is a nightmare. In spite of the fact that I have allocated, that I've built 3 runways, kind of to be able to accommodate all the areas of the airport, and generally initially at least try to assign gates so that like we only have one flight on this side, then one flight on that side, then one flight on this side, then one flight on that side, in an attempt to get them to use the runways. I think it's the similar issue as with the amenities. They just choose the first available runway, and whether that is all the way at the other side of the airport or not, that's just about it. So that's the issue right there. While in one of the more recent updates, you were allowed to, in the schedule, select the gates. Okay, you're still not able to select the runways, and maybe if that was the case, it would be a much, well, then you can at least manually override this pathing nightmare that occurs. Fair enough, this might not be the most efficient design, but regardless of how you do it, I had at some point had 2 taxiways over here to be able to potentially make 2 directions of travel. That didn't work. They were only using the closest one. So maybe a one-way system on taxiways could help you better manage the pathing, so you don't get this kind of arrangement happening over here. That might be a suggestion. Okay, the cafes, it's good. I don't really have a problem with it. It seems to be working now. All of this is working. What I would like to see is some variety, more retail stores, more types of cafes and restaurants, maybe airline lounges. You know, how would you, a real airport would have much more of this. It wouldn't just have the one type. I mean, if I could build more of them, but wouldn't just have the one type. Okay, then the next thing is baggage handling. So you've got these underground conveyors, which is an absolute nightmare to place. I don't know if you've watched the series, you would have seen me struggle with them on numerous episodes, and I don't know if that's great. Baggage goes out straight there, comes straight back. The other problem we had is we can only have one, because once you have 2, they can't be connected. There's all kinds of buggy pathing issues that you have with this. So certainly the conveyor belts and luggage handling facilities is a big deal, and it's not kind of working well. We've got a setup to work that looks similar to an airport, but that's about it. It's not working well. The other thing that we would want to look into is, if you are going the route of international airport style, we need to look at something like, again, passport control, customs, that kind of thing. Could make the game extremely interesting. So definitely something that would be good to add in the future once all the bugs is sorted out on the kind of domestic airport level. So from a vehicle's point of view, I have a fuel truck. I've no idea what it does. I don't think it's got any functionality whatsoever. Never seen the fuel truck do anything, so that's a bit of an issue. Baggage cars, we had millions of them. The reason for that is because they get stuck everywhere, bugged out a lot, so that was basically our issues over there. And then the other thing that I would like to see that would make this much better is if you actually have the ability to expand. fair enough. I mean, you choose the size of the area you want like to play on when you start the game, and I chose a medium. I didn't choose super extra large. But the whole point of this kind of tycoon game is to expand as required and grow with the game. And so we pretty quickly ran out of space, and we can't grow any further. So what would be great is if, like, something like in Prison Architect, you can actually buy extra plots of land next door. That would be great. That would give your airport a nice kind of natural growth look to it, instead of just a rigid, this is the plan, this is what we're doing kind of thing. That could be fun. Obviously not the way real airports are done, but in the tycoon style games, this is I think a good way of doing it. The system of passenger satisfaction, I couldn't really get to understand it. I've got like one thing of every amenity, and that's it. And the reason for that is because of the pathing issues. So I haven't really looked at this or used any of this, and it doesn't really seem to matter. It's quite easy to get a good passenger satisfaction. Airline satisfaction has always been running in this level. I've no idea. I mean, when you take a contract, it says a little something about this airline really doesn't want people to be delayed, or the flights shouldn't be delayed, or something like that. But apart from that, it's always been at about this level, regardless of what facilities or anything I have. So clearly, this mechanic isn't quite up and running, in my opinion. There needs to be certain things like, if I was an airline, I would be interested in having a lounge. Obviously, if it should be efficient and not have delays, but it should have a lounge. If it doesn't have a lounge, I would look at an airport that potentially has a lounge. I should get dedicated check-in desks, etc., etc. I should always be able to use the same gate closest to my lounge. Those kind of things, like in real life, basically. Airlines don't just go to an airport and say, "Oh, well, we're about halfway happy of using this," and so on. And the other thing that I found extremely difficult to deal with is the money aspect of it. It is extremely expensive to build foundations and so on. And while yes, that's true in reality, initially you just make no money whatsoever. So expanding is extremely difficult. Even if you go and take out a loan to try and get you some critical mass, add a few gates, it's almost impossible, because your maximum loan amount, as you would see over here, is 100,000. For 100,000, if I have you quickly show you in terms of objects, if you go to the extra large gate, I think this has been balanced since when I started playing. I think so. I think this has been balanced. So I'll leave it there with that comment. I won't go. I think that, so if we look at this again, it might be much easier. But when I built this the first time, I think it was something like 35 or 45,000. Let's have a quick look. I think the runway was about that much. Oh, there should be a runway in here. Where's the runway? Oh, runway is still 36. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it's still the balance is off. So the thing that really took it out was the foundations. And I think that's probably still the case. $500 per square meter takes it out. I literally could build a small little block like this, and a gate or two, and a runway, and that was it. I couldn't do anything else. And then if you do 100k, you can, and that was like with 1 million. If you do 100k, you can maybe add an extra gate with some more foundation and taxiway, and that's just the kind of the end of it. How much does taxiway cost? Yeah, look at that. Taxiway 16,000. So it's half the cost of a runway for a block of taxiway. So clearly big issues with that. Clearly big issues with that. So what I did is I played in sandbox mode, and so to build this airport cost us about 7.5 million, and we've managed to, in all the time we've playing, the 25 days we've played, we managed to recover about 1 million of that. So clearly it would take you way too long to get the kind of funds you need to build this kind of terminal building. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so my final thoughts as we close and end this series. My final thoughts about the game. The concept is cool. clearly, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I definitely want to develop my own airport. This is the kind of stuff that I want to do in games, and I really enjoyed it. The concept is great. There's a lot of good principles in here, but there's just so many bugs, so many problems. Take a look at the swarm of airplanes that's stuck on my taxiways. Can't get in, can't get out. Obviously, that's got the knock-on effect of passengers streaming in, streaming out, not getting onto planes. Everything's being delayed. So all in all, the bugs are horrendous. There's a lot of improvements that can be made in the game still. But what I would like to see from an early access game is that the game itself, in terms of gameplay, is good, and that the only thing that we should be expanding from there is the content, right? So we'll have the basic domestic airport stuff, maybe just start with a small gate or whatever, go up to larger stuff later, but at least have the mechanics work well. Over here, it seems like some of the content has been rushed in, and what we do have is a lot of mechanics that just doesn't do what it should be doing. So I will stop this series over there. Maybe one day I will come back and play it again. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to some other titles in exactly this genre. I'm quite excited about the Airport CEO game that should be coming out anytime soon. That looks very advanced and with a lot of mechanics, a lot of depth. I'm looking very much forward to that. This game is fairly simple in terms of its operation and how everything works. I think there's a lot more complexity that can go into this, but for now, in general, it's quite a fun little game. But unfortunately, I can't give it a recommendation in the sense that it is just so buggy, so many problems, so much frustration, and ultimately it ended up just making I didn't want to play it anymore because I'm struggling with too many of these concepts. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna end the episode and end the series over here. I'm ExactChaos, and this has been SimAirport Exactly. It's been an exact problem, to be very honest. And if you've liked if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like this review of the game, please give me a thumbs up. If you like my content in general and look forward to seeing some more of this type of game and review and content, please subscribe so I can keep you updated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.